830 tractor we bought, and immediately the radiator had oil in it, and it was bubbling and bypassing, like blown head gasket, cracked head, something like that. Anyway, we pulled the heads off and found out that the liners, around the liners are cracked. I guess that's a fairly common thing on those, the 830s, that 30 series case tractor. So we happened to trip over a motor out of an 855, was it a B? A D, an 855D, in 1984. Last year for the case motors to be in a case loader. It was a track loader. And this guy decided he's going to put a Cummins in it, which works really good for him, but he had this motor left over. Now, it isn't a perfect motor. It's got all the parts there. It looks like a decent low hours motor. 4,000 hours. I guess that's low. I don't know. It's halfway through its life probably. Figure about 8,000 hour lifespan. Anyway, so this is it right over here. You've already got it up on an engine stand. And I guess the story is the dozer, whoever was operating it, flopped it over on its side. So it sat on its side running until it seized up and quit running. Because, of course, when it goes on its side, it's no longer getting oil. And it appears what seized up was, I guess that would be, well, that would be 3. Number 3 and number 4 seems tight. I can wiggle and get a little bit of side play. If I get on this one, you could hear it. Number 2, I could do it too. Number 3 and number 4, I just can't get any side play. Boy, this motor, by the way, I think it's, man, it's beefy. I think it's really taxing the old 1,500-pound Harbor Freight motor stand, but it takes 2 of us to turn it, just to roll it over. But anyway, yeah, so with any luck, we'll be able to get this thing together. We're looking into, and we see that there's some differences, but there's a lot of similarities. One of the similarities being the cranks are the same, unless this happens to be one of the small journal construction engines they put out, which would have small main journals, in which case the crank wouldn't interchange. But other than that, it's the same crank in the 830 and the 870, because this motor would go in an 870. They use them in a couple different things. This one happened to come out of an 855D, but it also could have been in a 680 backhoe or an 870 farm tractor. You know, and there's some differences. You can see there's the oil filter housing there. It has a water cooler. It's fed into the water jacket, so you get water circulating around through there. So we're gonna ditch that. We don't need that for a tractor. The other big thing on these things is they have a balancer, and that's this guy over here. And we took that off. We're a little nervous about putting this one back on. If we pull the other crank out, the crank from the other motor, if we can use that, we'll probably use that balancer too and just switch it over. And because that balancer must have run dry too. Of course, Connor says it spins good, but he doesn't trust it. So we got heads, we even got another new starter with it and everything. So we really lucked out on Facebook Marketplace and found a whole bunch of stuff that hopefully we can get this tractor back together, because the tractor is way up on the cool factor. You know, a big 830 Tricycle Comfort King is just so cool. I've always wanted one. That's where it's sitting right now, and really I hate to admit it, but we don't really need it. But it's just a toy. It's what we like, you know. It's like our extra dirt bike, I guess. I don't know. It's just something that's really cool. So there's some differences, like the on that motor, that newer series motor, the fuel injector pump is on this side. You can see it's not on this side on this one. There's other differences. I was talking with buddy Dale. He does a lot with case tractors, and he was saying I'll have a hard time with this, getting this power steering pump rigged up. He says, yeah, you can do it, but it's got to hang outside the hood. I don't want to do that. I want it to look good. So there's going to be stuff to do. But yeah, I got video somewhere. I got to dig it out, and I'll show you guys. But there's cracks. There's cracks in this block right here. It just didn't hold up. This is the 301, where that's also a 336. So it's got a little bit bigger bore. So what we'll wind up with is an extra, I don't know, I think it's like 10 or 15 horsepower. I could look it up in tractor specs. But that's going to be kind of a little plus too. We get a little more power. These also start easier. They're known to start a lot easier. Where the heads on those have the power cells, and they, once you get below, jeepers creepers, sometimes 70 degrees, they're hard starting. You know, you gotta give them a little whiff or preheat them. Actually, you can get down to about 60 usually. You get below 60 and then you're getting out the preheats and stuff like that. Where this style head, because we had this style head, I think it's the exact same style that we had on our 970. The 970 would be this, the series bigger. It'd be the same basic engine except for 2 extra cylinders and no balancer. So I know the one we had on the farm, and that was a 1974 model year, would start no matter what. I mean, could be 10 below outside, and that thing, if you got it cranking, it would crank over and it'd fire right up. It's an amazing. I never seen a diesel start better. So I'm hoping this will be like that. Well, I don't know if it'd be that good, but I hope it's really good as far as starting. All right, guys. Well, we're going to dig into this. I think we'll make a video when we pull these caps off. That'll be kind of fun to see what's going on in there, and we'll try to do as little as possible because the cylinders are in decent shape. I mean, it may not even be a bad idea to rebuild this, but that's another grand. You know, I just assume avoid that if I could. I mean, they don't seem to be leaking. I didn't see any antifreeze, trace antifreeze in here or anything like that. So I think the cylinder liners are sealed up good. If there's not too much transfer, or if there's just some aluminum transfer on the rods, and we can clean it off and get the bearings to go back in there. You know, if the other crank won't work because of the main journals being different size, which is possible, we'll have this crank turned. But I'm just hoping the rods aren't hurt. I'm hoping the rods don't need resizing, which they probably do. But we're going to see what we can do, what we can get away with. We'll just put it together. We'll plastic gauge it, make sure the clearance is right. Because I don't want to go through all that work and then, you know, put it in the tractor and then right off the bat you spin a bearing because you're, you know, there's transfer on a connecting rod or something like that. Okay, till next time. I'm just starting up my YouTube channel, so if you can like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I'm really just starting out. We're just brand new, so if you find this interesting, if it's something that you like watching, like and subscribe. Thanks, fellas.